What's going on, guys? It's Thomas from the Switch Shop. I'm joined, as always, by PJ, and welcome to the 19th ever episode of Nintendo Tonight. Now, today, we have a fair amount of rumors, actually, that happened over the past couple of days. We got a huge Pokemon rumor that could be really huge for 2021, like Mario 3D All-Stars huge. And then we got a weird instance of Nintendo leaking their own game, which really doesn't happen much at all. But then again, we did just have, the whole Kirby Fighters 2 fiasco, where I don't know what was going on there. We'll talk about all that. And then we have a segment talking about how we fell in love with Nintendo, which is always, a fun thing to talk about. And that's a question we get a lot over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/switchstop, and obviously on the Nintendo Tonight podcast. So that'll be a good one to answer. Then, speaking of answering, we got fan questions per usual. I think, have we ever had a podcast where we haven't done fan questions, PJ?
I think the first episode, but I once we actually got into it, I don't think so. But yeah, it's pretty much been like a every episode thing.
Yeah. So obviously we'll have fan questions, and then per usual that kind of wraps it up. So let's just jump on into our first segment, which is this Pokemon Master Collection rumor. So this leak actually happened just a couple of days ago, and basically I think it was Game.uk, which is a United Kingdom games retailer, leaked a brand new SKU, which is like a unit that they sell on their website. There was no box art or anything, obviously, because, all that stuff gets uploaded, later on, just in case, just in case something like this happens and stuff does get leaked. But what we did get was a name for this new game, a price for this new game, and a brief description, like one you'd find on, Amazon when you're about to purchase the product. So I'll just run through that right now. The name is the Pokemon Master Collection. The price, I believe it was $60. I'm correct on that, PJ? 60. From your disappointed stare, I think I'm correct on that front.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh boy, $60. So I'm sure PJ will have a rant about that coming up very soon. And just paraphrasing the description of what it is essentially this Pokemon Master Collection comes with Pokemon Red for the Game Boy, Pokemon Gold for the Game Boy Color, and Pokemon Ruby for the Game Boy Advance, all in one package and all updated with online play, meaning that you should be able to battle/trade with people using the Nintendo Switch Online service, which is, personally, I think that's really cool because we have not gotten those older games updated with, online. We'll save for Omega Ruby, which obviously had online given that was on the 3DS, but the original games we'd never gotten with online. I personally think that's really cool. However, these are 3 ROMs that I can play on my phone, so I mean, I'll let you take that one, PJ.
When I first saw this, I was shocked, disgusted, all of the above. If it's real, I'm so disappointed.
Disgusted. You were
disgusted.
Drained.
Listen, I mean, I don't know if it's exactly real. I really want to lean towards the side that says that it's fake, to be honest, because the fact that you're selling 3 Game Boy games for $60 when probably the only functionality is either you can battle your friends or trade with your friends, that's pretty pathetic. Let's be honest. Who is gonna do that? I can literally play these games on my computer or my phone for free, or even my Game Boy, for God's sake. I mean, I have Emerald, and it's basically a better Ruby or Sapphire, in my opinion, at least. So, I mean,
well, it is, yes, a definitive edition. As much as it pains me to say this, because, and I actually want to talk about this. Sure. I am a Sapphire fanboy. Right. I tweeted about this.
I saw that. I saw that. You were disappointed.
I was devastated because, as I said in the intro to the segment, it is Ruby and Red and Gold, not Sapphire and blue, yellow, green, or silver, or any of the other crystal. So I'm a bit confused as to why. I feel like if the name of the title or the name of the game is Pokemon Master Collection, not Pokemon
you almost
Master.
Wonder if there's 2 different collections for.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Right, I feel like it feels like Pokemon Master Collection sounds like it's a one,
it's a standalone,
it sounds like it's a standalone. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like if it was it would be Pokemon Master Collection Red or Pokemon Master Collection Blue or something like that. Right. But it's just Pokemon Master Collection, which at that point, why is it not Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Crystal, and Pokemon Emerald, which are the 3 definitive versions from each gen. Or
And like
think
all
about
of
it.
the best games, like let's be honest. I
Yeah,
mean,
100%. I mean, they came out, after they had time to refine the problems that people had with it. Or, I mean, if this is really a one-off game, come on, you can't include the option to switch between Sapphire and and Ruby. Like they're both ROMs that are like mere megabytes. Like they are mere megabytes.
yeah, literally,
And
like
you,
it's literally
a,
like 50 megabytes or something. Like it's ridiculous. Maybe
I,
100.
I cannot physically believe that they, if this is true, and if there is no, if like the only way to get this collection is through this one thing that we see, which has Ruby, Gold, and Red, I cannot believe that they didn't either allow you to switch to Sapphire, or that there wasn't a Emerald, or like, the definitive edition. I'm talking like Crystal, I'm talking like, Yellow. That is unfathomably small brain from the Pokemon Company. And I don't know what to say. I physically do not know what to say if that is the case.
It like okay, I'm just gonna like take this from the perspective that it's real, by the way, just so we're kind of clear here. Like let's think about this. So they sell like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee for full price, and now they also say like, oh, if you want to play like Gen 1 games, yeah, you're also gonna have to pay $60. And by the way, it's not like it's fully remade or anything. It's just like, the one on the Game Boy. Like I just cannot justify buying this at all. It's just like it feels like, if real again, it just feels so like stupid to put out, and the only reason I can see them putting this out is because like they're making the Sinnoh remakes for 2022 and they need time. But other than that, like, what are you doing? Like, I just don't understand the point of this game whatsoever. Like, it's just like making me get like more angry and angry with Nintendo, to be honest, because it's just like ports and ROMs and everything. Like, again, like I feel like we're in this cycle of just like ports and stuff. Let's think. So 3D All Stars, like I enjoyed that, but like the actual like game itself, it was kind of disappointing, right? And it would take
100%,
it's
yeah.
taking them like what, 2 extra months just to add inverted controls back. Like, what's that? Like that should be like off release. Like that's ridiculous. But you have 3D World, which is a port, but it's at least seeing some added content to it. And it looks to be the one that's getting the most content. Yeah, good for you.
Let's go.
Pikmin 3, like just had a lot of ports recently, and just seeing this, especially about Pokemon, it's like really disappointing to me. And I really hope it's fake for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just the Pokemon Company seeing Nintendo release.
Yeah, let's hop in on the cash grab. No one will ever get mad. Let's just do it. Yeah,
I think that's exactly what they're doing, and I think that it's funny too, considering that Nintendo is doing also the exact same thing with Fire Emblem. I don't know if you saw that, PJ.
Oh my god! Yeah,
that is at least translated for the first time. So I mean, hey, good for those fans who wanted to play that.
Yeah, for sure.
There is nothing added to these Pokemon games, which makes me like, are you sure $60 for stuff that you can probably get for like what?
I think
$20
read
total.
Yeah, I think I read in the description that you're able to use Pokemon Home, or like one of those. I forget what the app's name is called. I could be right about Pokemon Home.
It's Pokemon
but,
Home. Yeah,
where you can like trade
Okay,
Pokemon
well, I mean,
between like those 3 hubs. But like I still can't justify that. Like, cool,
no, you can't.
Cool,
it's not.
But like,
it's not justifiable. Like I last night, I finally, okay, well actually this is a bit of a longer story, but a couple of days ago, or I guess a week ago now, I was perusing Twitter, I think, I don't know, as one does. And I saw a screenshot from the iOS 14.2 like patch notes for the new Apple phone OS, for those of you who I guess don't know. But they had 100 new emojis. I was like, oh, this is cool. I scrolled through, see the new emojis. There was a seal emoji. I had to get this. I finally upgraded from iOS 12 I was on all the way to 14.2 just because I needed the seal emoji. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen. I needed it at that specific moment in time, so I did. And then because of that, I could finally get this app called Alt Store, which, I mean, you could just look up how to get it. It's like, it's an alternative to the App Store, because Apple is notoriously bad with allowing certain apps on the App Store. Like they're super protective, which I mean, fine, that's their prerogative. I'm not a huge fan of it, but whatever. So the alt store allows you to download like other apps, and one of them specifically is called Delta. It's made by the same guy who made GBA for iOS. If you ever remember that, PJ, that was a legendary emulator back in the day. Riley Tested Riley Tested is I think his name, or Testuit. I follow him on Twitter. I was looking forward to Delta. I couldn't download it because my iOS was like messed up, but now I can finally download it. And I downloaded just out of like principle. I downloaded the 3 ROMs in the Pokemon thing, and it took me less than 10 minutes. I timed it. It took me less than 10 minutes to fully install this alternative to the App Store, download the emulator, and then download the ROMs and be playing the games. So, is 10 minutes of your time for people who have iPhones worth the $60 you're gonna pay, essentially? And no, it's not. It's not. Like, by no measure is it worth that. And then, so at that point, you have to justify, okay, is it worth it to pay essentially $60 for the ability to transfer your Pokemon to Pokemon Home and the ability to play these games online? I know for some people it probably is worth it. I cannot say that it is for me. I'm just not that big of a Pokemon fan.
Like, and is it just me, because I started with the first like Pokemon games that I ever played were the Gen 3 games, like yourself, but is it just me, or do I just not see a lot of like replayability with like the original Gen 1 and 2 games? Like they're like I can play through the third gen games, maybe it's just the graphics for me, but I can't. I just can't do it. Like,
yeah,
it just doesn't look good.
They definitely have aged the most. They definitely have aged the most. Like Gen 3, you could still make an argument that going back to Gen 3, it looks visually appealing. I certainly think it still looks good. I like that style. It hasn't really aged. It's kind of like, it looks kind of like a cleaner version of the 16-bit SNES style of games. It's like, the developers really knew how to make this art style look good, and they did. And Gen 3 plus the Gen 1 remakes, which I guess are technically in Gen 3, those still look visually really appealing. Yeah. I don't think the same for either of the Game Boy/Game Boy Color games, just because that system was prehistoric at the time when they were making that stuff. Like, it was crazy old. I think in terms of replayability, like, you can get a lot out of those games by replaying them, but like for example, Gen 2 was the only, generation in Pokemon to have 2 regions. Like, you unlock the entirety of Kanto after you beat Johto, but it comes down to like, can you stomach the kind of older conventions of those games graphics?
Yeah, but like playing the Gen 2 games, like, again, I can make the argument that like the DS, which has like the same portability as the Switch, why not just play the better looking version and the one that has more content, Heart Gold and Soul Silver? Like, I don't want to see anyone argue that Gold and Silver are better than Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Like, there's just no way. I mean, but yeah, I mean, like, I can't argue that. I mean, Gen 3 has had a remake as well, and it's, I don't know if I would call it better. It definitely has more content, but it's just really nostalgic for me. So I don't know, but I mean, it just at the end of the day, it just doesn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah,
at all.
I mean,
and that's kind of why
right.
I think it's fake, because I mean, like, Pokemon Snap is not going to hold off. Dude, I would be so disappointed. I don't think it's going to...
I think because it doesn't make sense, it's real. But you go ahead. You explain your...
I mean, like, at the same time, I almost, like, agree with you, because there's no way that, like... So if they don't put out, like, the Sinnoh remakes in 2021... Like, there's no way that Pokemon Snap is going to hold them off, right? Because, like... Yeah. I mean, it's not a Pokemon game, like, our mainline series, right? So, I mean... We'll see, I suppose, but I really hope it's fake, because this is very ridiculous and very overpriced. If you had a problem with how 3D All-Stars is priced, you better have an issue with how this is priced, because this is ridiculous.
Yeah. It is by far the worst. If this does come out, this is by far the worst example of Game Freak or the Pokemon Company / Nintendo, being greedy, or whatever people like to call them, stingy with their older titles. This is by far the worst example of it. I honestly do think it's real. I think if the I mean, it just makes too much sense. Like in my opinion, I feel like they could easily slide this in like a May slot for next year.
I mean, people
Um,
are saying that it does make sense because Pokemon's 25th anniversary is next year. But and then I
I
also
didn't
think
even know
like
that 100% now. I
yeah.
think it's true.
So
There's
like,
no
and
way.
I'm also thinking like, guys, like, when are we gonna stop these anniversary games? Like 35th anniversary for Mario, and then it's like 35th anniversary for Zelda in 2021 as well. So are we gonna have Triforce Collection, 3D World Port, and then a collection of very old Pokemon Game Boy games ported? And then if that happens, you think about like Switch Online. Like, is Game Boy games ever gonna come to Switch Online? And if so, like, are they going to include Gold, Red, and Ruby if they ever get to Game Boy Advance, right? So it's like
Oh wait.
it's so unfortunate. And then you also run into that same issue as you do with 3D All Stars, where like if they do N64 Online next year, like, do they put Mario 64 on it? Like, I mean, of course, because it's like the most iconic 64 game, but like we just paid full price for like a port, so is it gonna look the same? Like, there's a lot of problems. I feel like they are really screwing themselves here, especially if they do this.
Yeah, I would say if, out of the gate, Nintendo had come out with a streamlined way to play their older titles, like an Xbox Game Pass sort of thing, but instead
Yes.
of like new games, it was old games. I mean, I've done like concepts about this numerous times. I had one called Nintendo Cross. I literally had Nintendo Game Pass like trailer at some point during 2018 I made. I think if they had done that, then you know they wouldn't be have to be doing this. But now that they're selling stuff individually, I mean, it's gonna work, but for how long? Like, do you think this will carry them throughout the generation? I don't think so. I think the number one complaint people have with the Switch is it kind of lacks its own identity because it is so reliant on whether it's Wii U ports or just older like legacy titles.
Yeah, like I'm
However,
getting sick of it, man. Like, if
100%, yeah.
they have to bounce back 2021, because I've just been like really disappointed recently, at least because like at first like it was like, oh my god, 3D All Stars is so cool, like for me it was really big to play Sunshine again because like I didn't have like the original game disc or anything because like I don't actually own it. Like, I borrowed it from one of my friends like all those years ago. Obviously, don't have it anymore. So that was really cool. But like this generally, like it's just like really annoying to me, and I just wish that they would start putting out some new content rather than feeding us this like port garbage with like no real upside to it, and it's very overpriced as well. And like, to like the fact that like people complain and they don't like take a stand, like not buy it, like like Nintendo, it seems that Nintendo only cares about the numbers, like as of right now. So if people don't buy it, then maybe they'll get the impression, wow, maybe we should put out something new so that'll do good. So that's the
Yeah.
issue. That's the issue. But like, I totally agree with you. Like, the Switch really is lacking, or it really has an identity crisis. Like, I really wish they would, get their stuff together. But I guess we'll see what 2021 holds for us, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Before we move off this, I do want to throw out a prediction. You said something and it made me like kind of have an aha moment. What if you reckon they're doing, ruby, red, gold, like silver, sapphire, whatever, for this like master collection, which will be the ones like updated with online and Pokemon Home functionality and all that. Then when Nintendo ends up doing Game Boy on Advanced Online or Game Boy Online, excuse me, what if that's when we get the like definitive versions, like emeralds or gold, or not gold, crystal or yellow? I feel like that probably makes the most sense, and then those wouldn't have to be updated with like Pokemon Home functionality because they're just like, I
See,
don't know. I
like
mean, that's
that
my
that
guess.
that doesn't make sense to me because when you look at Switch Online, like, it's gonna be cheaper than actually paying the full price for the game. So it's like you're getting a bigger upside because we agree that like, like Crystal,
Yeah,
Yellow, and Emerald are like better than like the past games, or the opposite games, right? So I mean, like, the fact that you're paying like $60 for those, and then like you just get them with like Switch Online, and like, again, this is just us talking, like we don't know for a fact, but like, say
yeah,
that
for
was
sure.
gonna happen and people like didn't hear this, I guess, like, how would they feel about that? Like, they basically just overpaid when like the better version is on Switch Online. Like, I personally would be really mad about that. Like, I don't know. It really is a mess, and this is why I hope it's fake. I mean, like, I'm still hoping for these Sinnoh remakes, and hopefully they do them right. And we'll kind of get into that later when we get into the fan questions. But yeah, I'm still hoping for these Sinnoh remakes and for Game Freak to not butcher them and actually go back to old Pokemon. Um, that was really good in my opinion, at least. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, well, a lot. This is going to be a very influential couple of years for the Pokemon Company.
Oh yes.
Just given how Sword and Shield's reaction was, given how the kind of current view of the franchise, it'll be really interesting to see whether they side with the we could just keep cranking stuff out, low production cost, high
They're going to do that. They are going to do that. I promise you they're going to do that. All
Probably,
good values that Game Freak and Pokemon Company once have were completely thrown out the window the moment that they made Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It's just they I can't. I just
Although
can't do it.
one thing I would like to point out is Stealth40k on Twitter, who's a industry analyst, tweeted something out a couple of days ago that caught my eye. Apparently now Game Freak has moved into the same building that Nintendo works from. So while obviously
Wow.
Nintendo still doesn't own the Pokemon Company, they're just partnered / heavily invested in. The fact that Game Freak is now literally a walk away from some of the greatest minds in the industry. Fingers crossed that hopefully helps out in some way. Maybe whether it's new leadership or help with coding problems to make the wild areas not lag when there's snow. Let's just hope that being literally like minutes away from the greatest minds in the industry and the people who know the Nintendo Switch the best helps translate to better products across the board for Pokemon fans.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for that. I think it's just very interesting, and we'll have to keep an eye on it. Of course, stay tuned to both the Nintendo Tonight, podcast and the Switched Up channel, because dependent on how this Pokemon situation plays out, we'll definitely be covering it to the best of our ability.
For sure.
I can sense some video essay rants in our future, PJ. If this comes out.
Oh
true.
yes. Oh yes. For sure.
Oh boy! So
I'm telling you guys. Hold on. Sorry, before you go,
Yeah,
I'm telling
no,
you guys
course.
right now. If this is real, I will go on a tangent. A tangent. Like
a tangent to
in
end all
caps.
tangents.
Yes, literally, dude. Oh God, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with myself. If it's real, but anyway, move on.
Oh my goodness. He will go on the tangent to end all tangents. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, speaking of Pokemon, I got a text, and my text tone is still the Pokemon level up theme. I don't know why. It's just always been that. Anyway, from Gen 3, of course, I think is the sound font used.
Correct.
Anyway, so we have another leak to talk about today. Now Nintendo is usually. Oh, whoa! I don't know if that came through, but I just had a major voice crack. Nintendo is usually really, really secretive about their upcoming titles. I mean, take for example, what will probably end up being their best-selling game of the year, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. We didn't know about that until 2 weeks before it ended up releasing. 2 weeks. That's bizarre. They've been playing their cards very close to their chest, even more so during this pandemic, and that makes it even weirder that the night before Kirby Fighters 2 was, shadow dropped, it was actually leaked by Nintendo. Now we don't know if, that game was supposed to come out, the day after it got leaked, or if Nintendo was just like, oh, well, people already know about it, why not, shove it out there? But
I'm pretty sure that was the idea.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's one of those things we'll never know for sure, but I mean, that's what people generally think. However, there's a potential second leak coming from the Big N. So I want to talk about this for a bit because it's pretty huge considering we have not gotten that is so bizarre to say. We have not gotten a single Metroid game on Switch. There is not a single Metroid game, not counting Super Metroid and, Metroid on the NES and SNES online service. Mm-hmm. There is no Metroid game on Switch, despite the fact that, the first E3 of the Switch, we got the announcement of Metroid Prime 4. But that still isn't here. I don't know what's good with that. Actually, we do know what's good with that. We've done countless, podcast parts about that, talking about the travesty that is that game as of right now. But anyway, Metroid Samus Returns, which was also announced that same E3, by the way, E3 2017, was a remake for the second ever Metroid game, which was put on the 3DS, and it sold pretty well. From what I remember, it was one of those games where the director of it said that it will determine whether or not 2D Metroid ever exists again. Which, just side tangent, I hate when companies do that. It's like it's such a despicable practice in my opinion. Like, hey, buy
No,
this
agreed.
product if you ever want to see your this game again. And like
Agreed. Like
sometimes
I don't think you
it's
should
just
say
not
that
good.
publicly. Like if you want to say it like within your
100%,
company,
yeah.
if you want to say it within your company, like okay, cool. But like publicly, it's just like okay, like really, man. Like I don't
It's
know,
just,
but
I mean, it
I agree.
works, I guess, but it's just very
It
feels
just
very
feels scummy.
predatory almost, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, we got Metroid Prime, or not Metroid Prime, Metroid Samus Returns screenshot on Switch, thanks to Nintendo. I think it was their promotional material for a
Yeah,
new controller skin.
no, yeah, they had a promotional material on their website for like this new Super Metroid skin for like the Switch itself, and there's like a screenshot of somebody playing it on the Switch, and it has like a picture from like a cutscene in that game. So people were like, "Did they just do this again?" But I mean, there you go. But
Who knows? So
yeah,
what do you
for
think?
sure.
Do you think this is a leak, or do you think this is just like a placeholder image? Given that we don't have any actual Metroid games on the Switch, like I said,
No.
so they don't have anything else to put there.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense for them to put it on the Switch. I just think it's funny that like a game that was once remade is now getting ported, just like going back to like Nintendo repeatedly putting out ports and ports and ports forever. But this is one that I wouldn't have an issue with. This game was released like to the like at the end of the 3DS's life cycle, so a lot of people may have not played it. So I think alone with the Switch, like obviously not having any like Metroid games other than Super Metroid, of course, along with filling that void that Metroid Prime 4 fans have been waiting for. I guess this can maybe tie them over, assuming that Prime 4 comes out in 2022, but we really don't know. But overall, if this is real, it's pretty cool. I think I'm probably gonna buy it as well. Hopefully they do a good job porting it over, but I can't see this being an accident because like how can you just like put a picture from like a game and it's like okay, like it's just so weird and so like out of place to be fake, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But
I
it
agree. I
definitely
don't
makes a
think
lot of
it's fake.
sense, and I'd like to see it for sure.
Yeah, I will agree with you. I don't think it is I don't think it's an accident. Now whether it's a them just going, hey, we literally don't have a Metroid screenshot to put in here, so we're just gonna do this. That I think it could be that. I wouldn't be disappointed if this was true. Because
Me
that
too.
is one of the games I've always wanted to play. I just don't think I've ever gotten a chance to play it, or if I have, I completely forgot. But Mercury Steam, who is the development studio that Nintendo trusted with that, they have not. I'm looking it up right now. They have literally done absolutely nothing since Metroid Samus Returns. So I feel like it's now been 3 years since
Cash
that
in
game
for
has
the
come
port
out.
money. Let's go.
No. We're thinking they could do. I mean, they could have been working on something like maybe a Super Metroid remake, a Metroid Fusion remake, a
Yeah,
new
Fusion
2D
would be cool.
Metroid. I
Fusion
mean,
would be cool for sure.
that was at the start of this year. There were leaks that said two games, a new Paper Mario and a new 2D Metroid, and it is 100% possible that the new 2D Metroid was supposed to come out this year. Whether it was COVID, delayed development, and it wasn't ready, or Nintendo was like, "Hey, we're just gonna push this back because we want it like next year." I don't know. Whether no
Hmm.
matter what it was, oh yeah, because it could have been like it was supposed to come out this holiday, but Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which was supposed to launch in like April, got pushed back because that was affected by COVID, and this game is just done waiting for a June 2021 release date. No matter what it is, I think that a new 2D Metroid is in the works. I will say that. I hope that it was done by Mercury Steam because from everything I can discern, they did a great job with Samus Returns.
Hmm.
Made it a lot more accessible, which is good because that's one of my main problems with 2D Metroid in general. It's just very like it's very like if you don't know the game, it's like that. Remember when we had that Mario 64 discussion where we were talking about
Right.
like how if you've never played that game before, a lot of the stuff that like seems so intuitive, like looking up at the ceiling to get a
Right.
star, is like who would even think of this? Um, 2D Metroid has always been like that. Like you have to bomb these
No, yeah,
random
for sure,
corners of
for
the
sure.
map that just have absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
Like I was playing through Super Metroid trying to like 100% it on like a Nintendo Switch Online, and like, I would have to follow like a guide or whatever, cuz like there's so much like random
Yeah.
stuff that like I wouldn't know, cuz like I played that game like probably when I was like, I'm going to say like 8 or 9 on like my cousin's SNES, but like, never like actually got through it or anything, so I don't know those things, but yeah, for sure, like you're definitely right about 2D Metroid for that though.
Yeah, I just think that it's one of those titles that should definitely come to Switch. Once again, I've said this multiple times already. We
Yep.
do not have a Metroid game on Switch. That is a travesty. I don't want the Switch to go the route of the Wii U. We have not had a home console Metroid game since Metroid Other M on the Wii, which you can make a argument that barely even counts as a Metroid game.
Why do you say that?
That game, a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was fine, but then again, I played it when I was like pretty young, so I didn't even really know. Like, I played it before I'd played any of the Prime games, I think.
Oh
So,
wow, yeah.
it was one of those games that like I thought it was good, but looking back on it, I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't like it. I thought it was cool because it reminded me of Star Wars a bit. Yeah, that's why I liked it.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I just hope that we get some sort of Metroid game on the Switch soon, because I don't want this to
Agreed.
be like. I think with Metroid, they're definitely going to spread out the releases. I don't think they want to do, 2 Metroid games in 2 years or something, not counting Prime Trilogy. So I hope whatever we get for Metroid, we
Oh,
get it
that's
soon.
another port, by the way. That's another
Oh,
port
yeah,
that
yeah,
is
yeah.
definitely going to happen. Like, there's no way they don't do
100%.
that.
Yeah. I mean, after this is all said and done, we got to make a list of all the Switch ports. I honestly think it'll be like
Yeah.
a ridiculous amount. I don't even want to guess. But
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we could probably like not only like make a video, but even go on a rant about it, like in a podcast about like
Oh, for sure.
all of Nintendo's ports, and like how the Switch has like just for like this year, it's been basically like the cover up for all of like the Wii U games that were good but like didn't get enough attention, so let's like
Yeah.
money grab and do
we
that.
can go on a rant on it. We've already been doing that all episode.
Oh, fair
That's been the
enough,
theme
fair
so
enough.
far.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, we could go on for a lot longer, but what are you gonna do? It's also just
Cry.
so much. Yeah, cry and complain on the Nintendo Tonight podcast.
Yes, yes.
It's also so bizarre if you think about it, PJ. This is the first time in Nintendo's life since the absolute beginning of their video game making career where they only have one console to focus on. They are not split up between the 3DS and Wii U. They're not split up between the DS and Wii, or the Game Boy Advance and GameCube, or the Game Boy and N64.
That's the even
prior.
more sad part about it, and that's also like what makes me think that a Switch Pro is coming out. Because like, what the hell are they doing right now? Like, you know what I mean?
I am at a complete loss as to how they can have not like I don't know. Anyway, they better be working on like I'm expecting like 2021 or 2022 to just be the most stacked year of all time, and then them go on like another semi hibernation like they are right now.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, like, like it has to be probably March that like we hear something like big, right? Like whether it be like a Pokemon announcement, or Pokemon announcements normally happen in January, but whether it be a Pokemon announcement or like Odyssey 2, or we get like Breath of the Wild 2 release date and title, or Metroid Prime 4 release date, or we get Bayonetta 3, like something along those lines of some big game that people have really been anticipating, but Nintendo has just slapped us in the face once again. So yeah, I mean, I guess
Jeez.
we'll have to see what next year holds for us, for sure.
of course,
Should be a
it'll
very
be
interesting
interesting.
one.
Yeah, interesting as always to see what Nintendo's gonna do. So yeah, hopefully we do end up getting that 2D Metroid. Whether it is that Samus Returns port that
Or a
Nintendo
new game.
potentially leaked, or a new game.
For sure. I think it'd be a
Now
good idea. For sure.
we're moving on. I believe PJ, unless any
Yep.
objections.
Yep.
Um,
All good.
so Nintendo, obviously, we've literally spent a fair amount of this podcast just crap talking them. Just talking about how how we don't like that they're not doing this, not doing that. But overall, obviously we both love Nintendo. It's not a debate. We
For
might
sure.
it might be a love-hate relationship, but it's
Yep.
obviously more love than hate.
Yep.
You can see I mean I have a Breath of the Wild poster back there. I don't even know if you can see it. I have
You can.
um
Yeah. For YouTube
Odyssey,
viewers, of
Smash
course.
Bros, Luigi, Mario. Like I have so much Nintendo stuff. I'm sure you do as well.
Hmm.
Some of our fondest memories have been from Nintendo, and specifically, I mean, this channel is only possible because of Nintendo, and we've both met a lot of cool people. It's been a lot of
Because of
fun, and
Nintendo,
that's
yeah.
all thanks to Nintendo. So as much as we kind of crap talk them, they have done more than I think any other company has for me in my life, which is just kind of crazy to think about. But that leads into this fan question. So how did it all begin? How did you fall in love with Nintendo? And you can go first if you want, then I'll follow it up.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, my first Pokemon game and Nintendo game that I've ever played is Pokemon Emerald on the Game Boy Advance SP, and I got it for Christmas in like 2004 or 2005. I can't really remember. But ever since then, I was just in love with Pokemon and Nintendo, and I've been following the company the whole time. Got a DS, got into Diamond and Pearl, got a Wii, Wii U, DSi, 3DS, all Nintendo systems basically, except for the GameCube. Weirdly enough, like I skipped out on that one. Don't really know why. I just kind of like stuck to my Game Boy and then went to the DS, and like I guess I didn't really like ask for it for Christmas or whatever. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean definitely Pokemon is where like my love started for Nintendo. I mean Emerald, Diamond, and Pearl were where like that started for me at least, and then just over the years just became a huge fan for sure.
Yeah.
And
Um.
Smash Bros. Honestly,
Oh, of
because
course.
I
Yeah.
had that channel. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um.
Brawl was a big game for me too. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's very similar to that. I I get like the order, like time wise, mixed up a bit, but I know for a fact. So my family got a Wii essentially on launch. Like a month after launch, we got a
Oh,
Wii.
wow, okay.
Now, if you lived in America during that time and remember it, you would know that getting a Wii during that time was damn near impossible. They were
Wow.
understocked. It was taking off. It was a global phenomenon. It was crazy. And my uncle, who does not play video games at all, but he's one of those people who like he always kind of wants to be in on the trend, especially with technology. Like
Yep.
always gets the new iPhone, was thinking about getting a Tesla, like that sort of thing. He got a Wii, and we came over. We came over. My family came
Okay.
over, and we played Wii Sports because that was the only one he had. And he only had one Wii remote. I don't think he ever bought a single other game for that besides Tiger Woods PGA Tour and Wii Sports.
Yep.
But yeah, we came over and played it, and I think if I remember correctly, I just wouldn't shut up about it. So eventually, my parents like this wasn't even for Christmas. My dad was just like really wanted to play more Tiger Woods PGA Tour, and I really wanted to play more Wii Sports, and I saw that you could get Lego Star Wars on there, which I mean. I loved Star Wars and I loved Legos. Damn, I could get that on the Wii. Okay, this is my time to shine. So eventually, me and my dad were just like, hey, if we both want this thing, why don't we go cop? And my mom was like reluctantly, okay. So we went and we went to a GameStop, and I remember we went in to get it because we didn't know about like the console shortages or whatever. We went into GameStop, went to get it, and they didn't have it. And me and my dad were just like, bruh, like there's no way. We drove all the way here because it was like I don't know, it probably wasn't that long of a drive, but it felt like hours. Because I thought I was getting the Wii, and so we walked back to the car. My dad starts driving home, but in the same little shopping complex, there's a Target. I'm like, Dad, why don't we check the Target? He's like, they're not gonna have a Wii at the Target. My mom's like it can't hurt to check. So I was like, okay, yeah. I ran in. And sure enough, they had a Wii. We got the last one they had. So my
Wow.
dad was like, I don't know why. Yeah, he thought they wouldn't have it. But they did. So we got a Wii. We went back. We went back
The
to my
Wii
house.
puns are unbelievable this episode.
I know. I'll never let that die. That'll be a pun I make until I die. But it, yeah, we went back. I ended up getting. We ended up getting. Every time I say it now. My family ended up getting Mario Kart Wii. And
Goat game.
later on, I got Super Mario Galaxy. Funny
Oh,
enough,
so
I
good.
never got New Super Mario Bros. Wii. But
No way. Are you
yeah, no,
serious?
I never did.
Wow.
So I got super obsessed with Mario. But I at this time, I was pretty young, and B, I wasn't super into Nintendo. I just liked playing the game, so I didn't like know what games were available for the Wii. The only way I could like find out what games were even existing for the console was through like Target or Toys R Us flyers. RIP Toys R Us. So I would just like I wasn't a fan of the company. I was a fan of the games, and so I liked it enough that like I was a pretty big Mario fan. And then I think a year later, or a couple years later, I don't know, it's all kind of meshed together. My grandma got me a DS
Oh,
for
wow.
Christmas. It was one of those like my birthday is very close to Christmas, so it was one of those like combined here's your gift. We got you this and a game. And I was over the moon. I was like, oh my goodness, this is the greatest present ever. And that was probably the moment or the moment I fell in love with Nintendo. Like the most memorable moment for me was my so I have a family friend. She's basically like a grandma to me. I see her all the time. She technologically she's a bit slow. She tries her best, and I teach her how to like set up stuff like her Amazon thing. I don't want to say the name because mine will go off, but you all know what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, like I teach her all that stuff,
Yep.
and she got me a bunch of Game Boy um stuff because she thought it could work on my DS. Um, and the DS does have a Game Boy Advance cartridge reader, but it can't read Game Boy carts. And so she felt bad that she got me a bunch of Game Boy stuff that she just ordered a Game Boy Advance SP. So I was like, okay, thank you. So now I have a DS and a Game Boy Advance SP. And I remember staying up way past my bedtime playing Pokemon Sapphire. Some other person's copy of Pokemon Sapphire because she got it all at a garage sale or like a yard sale or whatever. And that was probably the moment where I was like, whoa. Because, like, every time before that, I was playing Mario Kart Wii with my family. Like, they're not, deep gaming experiences. Or I was playing Mario Galaxy and struggling to get past, like, the Honey Hive Galaxy. Like, I was probably trash at the game because I was, like, very young. Um, but then playing Pokemon Sapphire, like, I really got into it. Like, that was the first time I ever, like, looked up strategies for a game. I would stay up super late. I would plug in my, I was going crazy on that game. I played it for so long. My original save file, which is now deleted, had like I literally remember crossing the 100-hour mark and being like, that can't be right. Like I was like, there's no way I played 100 hours of this game, but I did. And yeah, that was the moment that I fell in love with Nintendo the most because it showed me that video games could be more than just like the stupid stuff you play with your sister, like just to have fun.
For sure.
Because like even though Pokemon isn't a story-driven game by any means, I was invested in that story. I wanted to beat Wally before going to the Elite Four. I wanted to stop Team Aqua. Like I don't know, something about that game, man, just got me like hooked beyond belief. And then
For sure.
I mean, from there, I've been a Nintendo fan kind of my whole life. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think when like I seriously like fell in love with Nintendo, I was like, wow, like I love these games. I
Hmm.
think it's probably gonna have to be Pokemon Platinum, even though like when I played that game, I had already played like two of my favorite games of all time before, being Emerald and like Diamond Pearl. But like Platinum, it just felt like different. Like I went to the GameStop, I pre-ordered it for my birthday, and we got it like a day or two early. And it was kind of cool because like I was one of the first people to like have it like around me, of course, because like like YouTube wasn't really like huge. Well, it was kind of big, but like I didn't understand like the influence of it like at the time. So
Yeah.
like I didn't really put a lot of like significance into it, but like I had the game early, and I got through that game really fun, one of the best ever. And like when I was done with the game, I was like, damn, like this sucks. Like I really wish there was like more, right? And I was like, I really got to play more Pokemon games for sure. And that's when I was like, okay, like, I want a Wii, I want, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, Nintendo as a company itself, I mean, has really like changed both of our lives for the better, of course, because of Switch Stop and for me, like Smashcast all the way back then. I mean, a lot of stuff may not have happened if I didn't, pick up that Game Boy or pick up
Yeah.
that DS, right? So, definitely very huge.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Like, I mean, I won't really get into it here, but all the stuff like just not even like as like not even, if Nintendo didn't exist, Switch Stop wouldn't exist. Like obviously no duh. But like specifically the relationships we've made because of
Oh,
Switch
for
Stop.
sure. For
It's
sure.
crazy to think about. Like
Hmm.
I don't even know what I'd like. I'm sure I'd be doing just fine, but it's weird to think like what would we be doing like with
Mm.
all our free time. I don't know. Kind of weird. Yeah, anyway, I mean there's just a lot of, great Nintendo moments.
Yep.
We've both shared whether it's,
Lots of sentimental value with Nintendo consoles for sure.
yeah. I mean there's just so much like stuff I can pull. Um
Hmm.
yeah, but those are the moments that made us initially fall in love with the company. Hopefully that was a satisfactory answer. Tried to go in and kind of, narrow in and explain exactly what it was. Um, I'm kind of interested though, like what game? I mean, you guys don't have to, type up a whole novel in the comments if you don't want, but for any of our YouTube viewers, just
Yep.
feel free to comment down below what game at least it was that made you fall in love with Nintendo.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm just genuinely curious. I feel like it's going to be a lot of Pokemon, Mario, and Zelda. Probably a fair amount of Animal Crossing too, because that's one of those types of games where it like kind of hooks you in there. Um, yeah, I'm just curious though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Leave a comment below, and you can also tweet us at Nintendo Tonight, and I'll respond and all that. So yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We'll do like more of those type of segments in the future for sure. I kind of want to bring back hot takes for a new episode
Oh yeah, we
pretty
gotta do
soon
that.
because I've seen some quite a few spicy ones in the comments. Let's just say, but yeah, definitely a future episode. So let's move on here to fan questions. You guys ask fan questions in the Switch Stop Discord under the NT questions channel in there, along with YouTube comments. So, if you want to send in questions for a future episode, be sure to do that there. Our Twitter again at Nintendo Tonight, or join the Switch Stop Discord where you can find in the description of the YouTube video. So be sure to go check that out. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So, first question here from With a Side of Beans from Discord asking, do you think that the Diamond and Pearl remakes will get a wild area? So I wanna let you go first here. Do you think that they're gonna get it?
I think that the Diamond and Pearl remakes will be entirely wild area, like sort of style.
Yeah.
I think that it'll be everything will be free camera. You'll be able to move the camera all around you. I think obviously there will be specific routes, going from place to place. So it won't be entirely open. Like there'll still be defined paths, but they will definitely be a lot bigger, a lot wider.
Hopefully
And yeah,
FPS issues fixed.
yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. I have faith. After the
Yeah.
Crown Tundra, I never played it, but from what I saw, I mean, it just kind of looked like what Sword and Shield should have been. So now that they've at least caught up to where they should have been a couple of years ago, I have faith that the Diamond and Pearl remix in terms of like wild area slash you know just the modern aspect of it, making it actually feel like a modern game. I feel like that'll be pretty solid. Maybe that's optimism, but that's my thoughts.
It's optimism from my end, at least. I mean, when I think about like Snowpoint City and like when you go through like the deep snow when you're
Oh
walking
no,
up to that, like, can you imagine on Switch playing through that? It would be like 5 FPS, and then you're
Google
like,
Slides.
yeah, like
Honestly,
PowerPoint from
PowerPoint.
2007. Yeah, like literally, it's ridiculous. I really hope that that's not a wild area because I think like if it was like open world like Diamond and Pearl remakes, I'd be really happy about that. To see some of those like areas, especially like Sunny Shore and Snowpoint, like I said, just have those like iconic areas, of course, without like the wild area. But unfortunately, history tells me that the style of like the original game from like the console translating to like the remake per generation. Like for example, like Gen 4 had the Hard Gold Soul Silver remake. Looks very similar, works very similar. Vice versa, right? Sun and Moon, or not Sun and Moon. X and Y had the third gen remakes. Looks and works very similar. So I assume that it's gonna have a wild area. Unfortunately, I really don't want it to. But I just hope that they do it right because, as I have lamented in many episodes, I'm going to be very, very angry at the Pokemon Company and Game Freak if they
Very
screw this up
angry.
for sure because this is like one of my favorite games ever. So I would be like Man, like that would just suck. But yeah. Moving on here, another question from Discord from Master Seabass asking, do you think that it's possible that Microsoft is trying to acquire Sega, with Sega having huge financial troubles because of the pandemic, and with rumors of Microsoft looking to acquire a few Japanese game studios? Can it be possible?
I mean, possibly yes. I, I don't know how I feel about Microsoft acquiring all these studios. PJ and I were actually talking about this before we hit record on the podcast. Xbox, what are you doing in terms of your exclusive games? I'll tell you what they're doing. Absolutely nothing. They have 0 exclusive games for the Xbox Series X. How are you about to launch your console with 0 exclusive games? That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even
Yeah.
compute in my pea-sized brain. So I don't know what they're doing.
Sony has a Spider-Man game, like
I know. It's not even
like nice,
close.
dude.
And
like-
Bug Snacks. Sony has Bug Snacks. I'm just saying. Okay.
Bug Snacks, dude.
What a meme. Anyway.
Yeah, for real.
They just they bought Bethesda,
Yep.
and so I'm not sure. Like Bethesda and Sega, those are 2 really big players in the industry. I'm not sure how I would feel about Xbox owning them both. However, Microsoft has always been really good about putting their games, at least even if they don't make the games completely cross-platform, such as putting Cuphead on Switch and now PS4 or Ori on Switch, they're at least really good at putting their games on PC, given that Microsoft Windows it worky. So yeah, like Halo Master Chief Collection,
Throwback from
it's
last
good.
episode.
it worky. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that whole escapade. Anyway, the yeah, it's just I like. Possible, yes. Will it happen? I'd say probably not. I feel like it's just kind of like you're looking at more. It's more correlation that it could potentially happen, and it looks like it could, but that doesn't mean it looks like it will. I just think that it's a little scary thinking that it could possibly happen, because before we know it, Xbox could honestly have. I mean, they have essentially infinite money, due to just being Microsoft. Yeah. So. I mean, shoot, man, they could buy, freaking Ubisoft, EA. They could just buy everything. I don't know. It's just... We'll see. We'll see what goes on over there.
And, those vape hoaxes probably didn't help it too much either. I feel
man.
like Sony paid, these people be like, just vape under the Xbox Series X so that we can get higher sales. Imagine. Paid them under the table. Yeah,
Mr. Sony going, hey, yo, we'll send you some vapes if you.
Yeah, I said from the start though that I think that PlayStation is going to win this generation. I think that, weirdly enough, hopefully this makes sense. I think PlayStation is going to win the console generation, but Microsoft is going to come out the bigger winner because of PC gaming and the Xbox together. I feel like it's going to kind of amass a bigger profit than the PS5. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean that's just what I think for now at least. But no, I hope that Microsoft can acquire Sega. Kind of I've really wanted Nintendo though to acquire Sega for so long, because a lot of Sonic games have not been very good at all. We haven't had an undisputed good Sonic game for 1,000 years.
Besides Mania, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, what could really save 2021 if they made Sonic Adventure 3 and they brought everything good back to the world. It would just be flowers blooming everywhere. It'd be okay, Sonic's good, we're good, but
Sonic Speed of the Wild. Gotta have that Breath of the Wild moment.
Imagine. Yeah, but I'm looking for a better Sonic game, for sure. But I really want Nintendo to buy Sega, not Microsoft. But I mean, I wouldn't really be opposed, because I know that Nintendo would still have that partnership with Sega, because Microsoft has partnership with Nintendo, even if it's very one-sided, as you've said. But let's see what happens. Microsoft has been throwing a lot of money everywhere, but they haven't really been doing a whole lot exclusives wise yet. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it seems like whoever has gotten the jump to the better exclusives to start the generation normally comes out the bigger winner. But again, we'll have to see what they do in 2021 here.
Yeah.
Next question here from YouTube. Super Stop Motion asks, for Odyssey 2, do you think Nintendo could have a story where Mario has to visit places from his past, like Isle Delfino and Sprixie Kingdom? I think that would be
Uh,
really cool. Yeah, sorry.
no,
Do you
go
want to
for it.
go? No, do you want to go?
I was just gonna say,
Sure.
I'm pretty sure the exact same thing you're about to say. It would be cool, but I don't think they're gonna do that as the main story. That sounds more like a
Agreed.
bonus, or
Yep.
like a DLC chapter. Just because it's like, A, that's just repetitive. B, it's not creative at all. Like 3D Mario has always prided itself on being very creative, and even games like 3D World, which are obviously more formulaic, are still insanely creative in terms of level design and
Yep.
variety. So just kind of I think Mushroom Kingdom in Odyssey was cool because it was obviously a 64 throwback, but it was something you unlocked for playing through the entire game. I think we'll get Isle Delfino. Maybe we get lucky and maybe we even get like Isle Delfino and like the Comet Observatory or something in Odyssey
Mm-hmm.
2.
Yep.
But
I
no
mean,
way is there like in no way is that the premise of the
agreed.
game.
No, I agreed. I mean, I think that like Nintendo has to be careful with like at least like showing their old content like so freely, if that makes sense. Like I feel like seeing like these throwback worlds, like for example like Isle Delfino and Sprixie Kingdom, should be like a one time like gift and not something that like you're expecting, I guess.
Yeah.
But like I think regardless we're gonna get Isle Delfino because of like I know that leak was like fake or something, but there was a rumor about Isle Delfino being like Odyssey 1 DLC. So for Odyssey 2, I think they're gonna go like the Mushroom Kingdom route and probably do like a Isle Delfino bonus kingdom at the end of the game. Or it could be part of main, like the main game, but probably not. But I mean, I fully expect to see Isle Delfino. Sprixie Kingdom, however, like I'm not sure about that existing, but
I
like
don't think
I'm
so.
I'm gonna like if Odyssey 2 is real, which like we're gonna assume it is, of course. Like I'm gonna put like a 80% chance that like Isle Delfino is gonna be playable in that game because like it
Yeah.
just makes sense, for sure.
I honestly think if Odyssey 2 is real, I do not see a reality in which Isle Delfino is not in it.
Agreed.
But
Fully agreed.
yeah.
Because oh yeah, on the map as well, on the promotional art, there was like the Isle Delfino thing
Yeah,
too, and that was
exactly.
taken out. So I think it was supposed to originally be in the game, but they scrapped it for Odyssey 2 because they
That's
put
what
it
I
in
think
Mushroom
too.
Kingdom instead. So yeah, I mean I think very very high possibility that we get Isle Delfino in Odyssey 2, but very good question for sure. Nintendo just has to be careful with like kind of making like a game like fully around like Mario's past because like we just like played Mario's past for months. You know what I mean?
You're not
Like go
wrong.
on now. But yeah, I think it should be taken more as like a surprise and like a present rather than like oh yeah we're expecting throwbacks and it's like we want new but yeah I mean I think the throwbacks have to be like a lot more minuscule than like the actual new content for sure but Nintendo clearly does not have that same business model I do though so we'll
We'll
never
see.
we'll never
We'll
know
see what goes on.
for sure. So last question here from Discord. Hazard underscore Beast asks, Thomas, do you think there will ever be a sequel to 3D World? And this was a question to the both of us, but I'll let you answer because you're the 3D World fanatic for sure.
Um.
Is it possible? Tell us. We're all
Okay.
waiting.
Possible. Obviously, 100%. I don't think it'll happen though. I think
Hmm.
Bowser's Fury is going to kind of assume that role. I think if they ever return to this more linear style of 3D Mario, they're gonna have to add in a wrinkle to it. Um, just because 3D World kind of like 3D World in a sense already was a sequel to 3D
Hmm.
Land,
Yep.
and with Bowser's Fury seemingly adding a fair amount of more content, I don't see a 3D World sequel ever. Pretty much, I don't see it. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that like there's a spiritual successor like 10 years down the road when Nintendo is like dried up on 3D Mario ideas, but
Yep. Yep.
I don't know. I don't see it for the time being.
I agree. I mean, we still have to wait and see what Bowser's Fury is, and we
Yeah.
still don't know. So,
I mean, we're like today is
the
oh
12th.
crap. Hey, the day we're recording this is the 3 months until cuz December or November 12th, December 12th, January 12th, February 12th, so 3 months
Here we
until
go. 3 months.
3D World. Yeah.
Big time. No, I agree with you though. I mean, like I don't feel like there's gonna be a sequel. Normally, when there's like sequels to 3D Mario games, they're like consecutive and not like spaced out, which is why like we haven't seen a Galaxy 3.
Yeah,
Apologies to disappoint Galaxy fans, but it's probably not gonna happen. I mean, like it's just been
we'll
so
see. Yeah,
long.
I don't think it'll.
I feel like if there was gonna be a Galaxy 3, it was gonna be on the Wii U, but I mean, of course, like it's not there. So yeah, I mean, I think 3D World is pretty much done after this port and
One
Bowser's
last
Fury for
hurrah.
sure. For sure.
All right, The Last
Yep.
Dance. I finally watched that, by the way.
Oh, did you? How was it?
I really liked it. I'm really into like documentaries as a whole. I don't watch a ton of them, but like
Yeah,
I love like everything about them, from like the storytelling to the editing to just the content, like the way it can like get you invested in something.
sure.
I'm just a huge fan of documentaries, and I think that was one of the better documentaries I've ever seen.
For sure.
Definitely, I feel like it probably could have cut down a couple of the episodes. I think it went on for a bit too long, in my opinion. But that also could have been because I binge watched it, so I got
Oh
it
yeah.
all done within like a week. Whereas, like, I know, when it came out, it was like one episode a week, I think.
Yeah, it was. I think it was two. Yeah, it was two.
Okay, but I mean, still,
Yeah,
I
so
watched it in faster than the amount of time. But I mean, to be fair, after it airs, I guess technically everyone's gonna binge watch it from that point on, because
for sure.
there's no, like, it's not like it gets reruns. It's on a streaming service. So
hmm
personally, I think it could have been the same story could have been told with the same amount of impact in 8 episodes instead of 10. Um,
Yeah,
but
but
hey,
it was nice to have like that insight from like the entire team rather than like
oh,
Michael
for
Jordan
sure.
itself. Like I found
Yeah,
like
it
the
was
Dennis
really good.
Rodman stuff like kind of funny and interesting.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
he's a character.
He's a goof.
It was
He's
it
a
was
goof.
really good to see see all the all the perspectives. I love how they even were interviewing like Isaiah Thomas. They were interviewing like other players who weren't on the Heat to get like you really got a sense of like the NBA at that time, not the Heat. Did I just say the Heat? I meant the
Yes, you
Bulls.
did.
My
Yep.
sincerest apologies. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean though. Like
hmm
like
hmm
they were interviewing, you got a feeling of the NBA. They did a really good job in kind of painting the atmosphere, I guess, so
hmm
to speak.
For
Um,
those like 2000s kids like ourselves who were not alive during the 90s, so
yeah, of
interesting to see for
course.
sure.
So with that, I guess impromptu documentary review out of the way, PJ.
Yep.
I
It's
think
goaded
we
though.
can. Yeah, I mean, it was a good. I mean, it's about the goat, so it better be goated. Yeah, I mean, it was a good documentary, but as I just said, we ended the review. You'll have to tune in to our documentary tonight podcast. That was a terrible joke. I'm just ending it off. All right, thank you
It
guys
always
all.
happens like this. It always
Always
does.
happens.
It always does.
Always happens. The end. I just trail off into
Irrelevancy.
nothingness.
Yes.
Yeah, irrelevant. Anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching. We had a pretty solid episode today, I'd say. Talking about
Oh, for
these
sure.
rumors, a lot of crazy stuff. Hopefully, episode 20, we got some good plans.
Some big plans. Some big
we got
plans.
some big plans.
Some
Not just
layout
for episode
changes.
20.
Hopefully, you guys enjoy for
Yeah.
sure. hmm
Not just for episode 20, but just the future of the podcast.
Yep.
As we've said countless times on various social medias, both of us just got slammed with work at the exact same time. Unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? Hopefully, or well, not hopefully, 100%, production of episodes and new Switch Shop videos will increase as time goes on. We're just really busy at the time of now. So thank you guys.
Yep.
At the time of now, I'm an intellectual. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google Podcast, or obviously YouTube, which I bet is where probably the majority of you guys are watching. But regardless, just check us out on your podcast vendor of choice. And if there's somewhere where you want us that we're currently not, you can tweet at us at
Tweet at us
Nintendo
and leave a
Tonight
comment
on
below.
Twitter.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
leave a comment below or just tweet at us. We will check it out. Make sure to join the Switch Stop Discord to ask questions in the Switch Stop or in the Nintendo Tonight questions channel. And with that out of the way, thank you guys all so much for watching. And this has been the 19th ever episode of Nintendo Tonight.